When it comes to 1D&D, it seems that the good just keeps getting better. With the release of the Cleric and revised species Unearthed Arcana, we are getting an in-depth look at the newest version of the Cleric class, as well as the Life Cleric subclass. Additionally, the UA comes with some more updated rules, revised race options, and some updated spells. This video will serve as a first impressions and comparison between the newly revised Cleric and Life Cleric and their 2014 counterparts. But get subscribed so you don't miss my full in-depth review of it, as well as everything else in this UA coming over the next few weeks. The One D&D Cleric wastes no time distinguishing itself from its prior version. In addition to the proficiency options that are provided, what is immediately noticeable is that at first level, a Cleric no longer gets access to their Divine Domain or subclass. That has been moved to 3rd level. However, they still gain access to spellcasting from 1st and actually now have the ability to use their Channel Divinity right from the get-go rather than waiting until 2nd level. Initially, this genuinely seemed quite jarring to me. However, after going through the entire update, I actually think that it really makes a lot more sense, for reasons that will become a bit more clear later on. Channel Divinity itself has received a noteworthy buff. It's no longer restricted to being used just once per day, then twice per day from 6th level, before finally topping out at 3 times per day all the way at 18th level. Channel Divinity is now usable an amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. This change is long overdue. I've played too many games with low-level clerics that fear using their Channel Divinity as it has such limited usage. And while on the one hand, I can certainly appreciate the value of having a constrained resource, this really just felt like it only worked the way that it did because the team hadn't thought of the whole proficiency bonus times per long rest quite yet. So this is a very welcome change. As for the feature itself, it now comes in 2 varieties from 1st level, Divine Spark and Turn Undead. Divine Spark allows you to select a creature within 30 feet of you, you roll an amount of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and combine them. That creature then either heals for an amount equal to the total rolled, or they take damage equal to the total on a failed Constitution saving throw, or half as much on a successful one. Turn Undead forces each undead creature within 30 feet of yourself to make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, they suffer from the new Dazed condition, in addition to having to end their move farther from you than when they started. The Dazed condition allows a creature to either move or take an action, not both. Additionally, that creature cannot take a reaction or a bonus action. At first glance, I think both the new Turn Undead and Divine Spark are great updates. Being able to use them from 1st level is quite powerful, but not in a way that I feel is overpowered, bearing in mind that clerics used to gain their subclass at this point. The clarity of wording for Turn Undead and the incorporation of the new Dazed condition, I believe, is an excellent inclusion. At 2nd level, clerics now get to dedicate themselves to a particular holy order, which grants them certain abilities. It's almost like a subclass, but on an even smaller scale. You get to pick one of the following: Protector, Scholar, and Thaumaturge. Protector grants martial weapon proficiency and heavy armor training. Scholar grants proficiency in 2 of the following skills: Arcana, History, Nature, Persuasion, or Religion. Additionally, whenever you make a check in any of these skills, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. This seems really good. Thaumaturge allows you to prepare an extra cantrip and the ability to regain 1 use of your Channel Divinity after a short rest. While all of these certainly have their own applicability depending on the type of character that you're trying to build, it does seem like Scholar is likely to be the most consistently good for almost anyone. At 3rd level, clerics now gain access to their subclass or Divine Domain. This UA provides an updated look at the Life Domain, which is something that we'll be taking a look at a little bit later on. The 5th level feature, Destroy Undead, has been replaced by Smite Undead at the same level. Smite Undead allows you, whenever you use your Turn Undead feature, to roll an amount of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and have each undead within range roll a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, they take radiant damage equal to the total rolled. No damage is dealt on a successful save. So while this is a very all or nothing skill, much like the old Destroy Undead was as well, this is, in my opinion, much better. Yes, the old version had the possibility of outright killing any undead, but it relied on being below a certain challenge rating. I don't feel like players should have to involve themselves with challenge ratings at all, so this update is quite welcome to me. Previously, a player would have no idea if their core class feature was going to have any effect whatsoever, Or if they knew the challenge rating, they then had to make a choice between metagaming and not using it, or wasting their turn when they knew that it wouldn't work. Radiant damage feels also like a much more satisfying use of this feature. Overall, I really like this change. The 7th level feature, Blessed Strikes, is a similar but improved version of the Life Cleric's old Divine Strike feature. With this feature, whenever a creature takes damage from one of your cantrips or one of your weapon attacks, you can deal an additional 1d8 radiant damage. Notably, unlike Divine Strike, this can work during an opportunity attack, as it does not have to be used on your turn, but merely recharges at the start of it. Additionally, the damage does not increase to 2d8, as does Divine Strike. If you're enjoying this video, consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. It really helps other people find my content. I'm also currently running a giveaway for Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, so be sure to check the end cards or the link in the description so you don't miss out. At 9th level, you also get to pick another Holy Order, so if you didn't pick Scholar before, now you can. The 10th level Divine Intervention feature has been pushed slightly back to 11th level. This feature remains functionally almost identical, albeit with 2 small changes. You can now call upon your deity or pantheon, and if successful, you can't use it for 2d6 days rather than 7 days. I'm still a bit conflicted on how I feel about this, as on the one hand, I do wish it would have been able to be usable at least slightly more frequently. However, I also recognize its power and the epic feeling that happens when it lands, so I'm also kind of okay with it staying the same. I am curious to hear what you all think about this one though. The 18th level feature, Greater Divine Intervention, allows that same feat to work every time, just as the old 20th level version did, but now it can only be used every 2d4 days after. Starting at a 3rd level now, the Life Cleric still receives their domain spells, which still, as normal, do not count against the amount of spells the Cleric can prepare. The list though has been altered, and also obviously no longer provides spells at 1st level, meaning that Bless and Cure Wounds are no longer offered. The changes are as follows. 3rd level provides Lesser Restoration and Prayer of Healing, no longer providing Spiritual Weapon. 5th level provides Mass Healing Word and Revivify, no longer granting Beacon of Hope. 7th level provides Aura of Life and Death Ward, no longer granting Guardian of Faith. And finally, 9th level now provides Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds, no longer giving Raise Dead. Overall, I actually feel like this is a much more cohesive and well-rounded spell list. Though, admittedly, my thoughts on this aren't too strong in either direction, but I do like it. The 1st level feature, Disciple of Life, has moved to 3rd level, where it still provides the same healing bonus of 2 plus the spell level, but the wording change does have a slight impact on its functionality. The specific mention of when a spell you cast with a spell slot rules out many of the new racial or background features, which allow you to cast a spell for free without the use of a spell slot. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but it is a noteworthy mention. Also, specifically mentioning on the turn that you cast the spell confirms this feature does not work with some passive healing spells like Healing Spirit, which had a lot of other problems anyway. I would be curious to see if this side effect of requiring the use of a spell slot was intentional or not, but otherwise, the changes seem largely inoffensive. The 2nd level Channel Divinity feature, Preserve Life, has been moved all the way up to 6th level, but otherwise remains largely the same outside of removing the restrictions against being used on undead or constructs. This was presumably changed to allow for healing of many of the new races that fall under these categories. The 6th level feature, Blessed Healer, has moved back to 10th level, and again, remains largely identical with the same exception that Disciple of Life made regarding the required use of a spell slot. The same changes are also true of the now 14th level feature, Supreme Healing, which is functionally the same otherwise. Overall, I feel like this version of the Cleric is a genuinely good improvement in nearly every way over the previous one. The 2014 Cleric had so many gaps in its progression, and even where there weren't technically gaps, they would be filled with very minor improvements like changing the CR affected on Destroy Undead or allowing Channel Divinity to be used one whole extra time. I feel like this revised Cleric allows the class to actually feel the way that it should and grow and develop well over time without feeling like it's overpowered or broken in any way. Let me know what you think about the One D&D Cleric in the comments below, and be sure to check out some of my other One D&D content. It's all linked on screen right now. If you'd like to support me, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and be sure you don't miss out on the giveaway. But otherwise, take care.